Well, hello. Welcome to the More with Less podcast. We are covering today episode 2 of The Bachelor. And instead of one Bachelor expert tonight, we have two. Welcome to the show tonight, Courtney Clawson. I got back for week
Thank
2.
you.
We didn't run her off with the first one. And then also joining us is Sam Wexler. Sam, you're a senior at Wake this year, am I correct?
Yes, I am.
Where would folks have seen your work in the past? I know you've done a little bit of everything on campus, from it seems like the recruiting office to the communication staff. Talk to Wake Forest fans and the Bachelor fans and tell them what all you've done at Wake Forest the last couple of years.
Yeah, for sure. So I, since freshman year, have worked in the football recruiting office. So you probably have seen me at games and stuff like that. And then also in sports communications, working all sorts of different games, running around on the basketball court and all that fun stuff. And then I also write for the Old Gold and Black, and I was our sports editor for about a year, and now I'm just a sports columnist. So the faithful readers of the OGB have probably seen my stuff as well.
Absolutely. You do such a great job and have such a good attitude. And I know you've got a bright future ahead of you. So thanks for joining us today. I watched the episode 2 today. I watched, of course, first things first. I'm sorry, let me rewind. We're doing this on Tuesday instead of Monday because everybody Monday night wanted to watch the college football championship. Courtney, I'm guessing you didn't get to watch it with your dad?
I did not. No, we were watching Dad, but not with Dad. So we had him on text message, and so I'd say fix your hair, or look at the camera more. But yeah, he wasn't right next to me. Yeah.
What did he say to that advice?
He's a very he takes coaching well. So
I find that really hard to believe, but I'll take your word for it.
He's also downstairs, so I need to be careful with
that. Sam, what were your thoughts of the game?
It didn't go how I wanted it to. My grandpa went to Ohio State, so I was definitely in the Buckeyes corner. But when the insane running back got hurt, I was like, this isn't going to be so good. So it was definitely a blowout, but I think that honestly might be like one of the best Alabama teams ever. So I'll take it.
Did Mac Jones say that they might be like the best team ever?
Crazy, like so insane.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't really argue a whole lot right now, right? So, Courtney, any last thoughts about the football game?
No, I think I was watching the coaches' broadcast room and talk about making someone not, I thought I knew football kind of, and then I watched that broadcast and I'm like, what are they? This stuff football? I had no idea. So it went whoop right over my head. It was funny. I was texting with friends who were also watching the coaches' broadcast, and I said, we're saying, defense good, offense, bad. Devontae Smith is good, and then the coaches' broadcast is saying it's the nickel package with the cover 3 and the missing the blocks, and it's like we're speaking 2 different languages.
We really are, and I'm more in your boat than in their boat, unfortunately. I feel like my football knowledge has grown leaps and bounds by being around your dad in the football program the last few years, but I still, I've got a long way to go. So as long as they keep me around, hopefully my knowledge will continue to grow as well.
And and our collective Bachelor knowledge, yeah.
That's true. This may be a one-time thing, though. I don't know. We'll see how this season goes. My Bachelor watching may just last the Matt James season. We'll see. So I guess the show kind of started off, it was very Bree-centric, if I remember correctly. I took some notes along the way. And it started off, we found out that there were going to be 3 dates, a single date, a group date, and another single date. And Bree had a lot of screen time to start off with. Sam, what were your thoughts on those early segments with Bree?
Yeah, overall, this is the only season that I've really watched. And just as a concept, it's so strange to me that 2 people got dates with him and then 18 people went on another date and then other people are just sitting there. The whole concept is super weird. But I thought the date with Bree seemed really nice. They seemed like they hit it off well. My favorite thing was when he like flipped the ATV over, and then they like panned to Matt, and he was like, "I'm so sorry, like Bree's mom, like I promise you I'll take better care of her." And I just was like, yeah, like he's a nice kid, like a nice boy. You can tell that he's already apologizing to her mom after flipping her off the ATV.
It seemed to, one of the things about that whole segment that I thought was weird was the cutaway scenes for the individual interview with Bree. They were doing like cutaway scenes with her in the interview, like they were showing her in the hot tub with Matt, where obviously she's all clean, and then the cutaway scenes seemed to be remarking about things that happened in the hot tub, but she's still nasty, dirty with all the mud and stuff. And I'm like, just doesn't add up to me. What did you like about that whole segment, Courtney?
I agree with Sam. I think that they had some chemistry. I thought they hit it off well. I think Matt continues to show himself as a gentleman. I also appreciated his kind of preliminary apology to the parents, and we talked about this last week, but I think it's hard to conduct yourself, and portray yourself as a great person when you're on a reality TV show. But Matt's doing as good of a job as you can, I think.
It seems to me at times that, and he's made a point that he wants to dig deep in and find out more about these women personally, right? But some of the dialogue at times seems a bit contrived. Is it just me, or you all have thoughts on that?
I would say a strong theme in Bachelor seasons is they want the true authentic selves and the dig deep, and then we get the family is everything to me, and I love my dogs. So
it seemed to me, I made a note of this, that Bree seemed to really go out of her way to try to make like a connection and to find similarities with Matt. She probably did her homework, it seems like. Did you see that too, Sam?
Yeah, I was gonna say that I feel like, based on what my friends have told me about past seasons, because I've never watched it, but the people that he connects with, like they make sure that like their pasts intertwine somehow, like they have similar background or something. So it's like, oh wow, we have such a similar upbringing or whatever, like crazy coincidence that they cheer my one-on-one and we're similar. So I definitely thought it was kind of funny, but like, I mean, it definitely makes sense that they relate to each other because of that.
What do I have here? Oh, the one question I had, do you believe that Matt watched previous seasons to get a vibe as to how things go? Like I don't know. How could you compete in this or kind of run this from a Matt perspective without having a knowledge base as to how these things roll, right?
Yeah,
he probably watched. I feel like he might have watched Tyler Cameron's season.
Yeah, because they're buddies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I know he was signed up to be a contestant on Claire / Tayshia's season of The Bachelorette. And then, so he was supposed to go through the typical process, but then.
Did that season not come to fruition because of COVID? Is that what happened? Or did they just decide?
Delayed.
Okay.
Yeah, it got delayed, and then it was over the summer that he was announced as the Bachelor. Yeah, so the usually the Bachelorette airs in the spring-ish, and then Bachelor in Paradise is summer. But over this year, Bachelorette moved to the fall, and then we're back on schedule with Bachelor.
Yeah, we're back on schedule. So it went from the single date with Bree to the group date, which they said had 18 women involved. How many? We started off with, was it 32? We started off with 32 in the whole house, right? And then how many were eliminated on that first night of giving the roses away? Do we even know?
Was it 4 or 6?
4. Okay. So let's just say it was 4. Then that means there's 28. So that means 18 went on the group date. So that means 10 are just kind of sitting around the house jealous, I guess.
Yeah, they were all probably on the edge of their seats hoping for the last one-on-one, but then, the 9 that didn't get it, I'm sure were worried about their future on the show.
Right. What were your thoughts, Courtney, on the group date itself? They went away and had the wedding photographs taken with Matt. And then, of course, let's talk about the wedding photographs first. How did just the photograph session turn out in your opinion, Courtney?
Well, so Sam and I are we're texting during this, so we may, I think it's safe to say our thoughts are similar, but just weird. And then, okay, so the photograph idea, I think that they're challenged in that typically the show will travel. So they'll be in the mansion for a couple of weeks and then they'll travel across the country or they'll go international. But because of COVID, they have to stay in one location. And so their dates from traveling around this cool city in, Europe, go to what can we do in this, when there's only this number of people and only we're in this one place. So I guess it's a nice idea, but a little cringe-worthy, I would say. It was hard to watch.
Where did it start to get cringy for you, Courtney?
Whoever was first up doing the photos and I think kissed Matt, and whenever that happens in front of the other girls, they know what's happening, but when it happens in front of the other girls, it's a little too much, I think.
Well, my question about that is when the first girl goes up there and they have a legit kiss, not just a peck, then doesn't that set the stage of like everybody kind of has to do that? I mean, in a way. Sam, your thoughts?
Yeah, that was my initial reaction too. I was like, oh my God, is he going to kiss 18 people during this? Like, this is so weird. And then really I was like, okay, following along, but this is also odd that like they're all taking wedding photos. And then Queen gets up there with her crown and like tells him to take the garter off. And I was like, no, like, please make this end. And then obviously she's one of the last ones. And then everyone's mad as they go to the game. So I was like, well, that was teed up perfectly because she was dramatic leading into it. And then obviously the drama had to continue.
And speaking of doing your homework, Sam has pulled together some excellent research, some background research on the Queen.
Oh my goodness!
So
what's your expose here, Sam? Let's hear this.
So she went to Florida State, so there's that, and she has a master's from NYU, which I feel as though doesn't come across in the slightest that she's like ever been educated ever. So that was interesting. She used to be a flight attendant and now she's a real estate agent, which I could like kind of see because I feel like you have to be very loud and outgoing to be a real estate agent. I don't really know. She also apparently in real life goes by Vicky, like this Queen thing is new. And the other thing, she has a beauty and wellness, like, I guess, side hustle where she like is on Instagram and like telling people what to do with their fitness. I feel like that doesn't really align with her persona on the show though. So I feel like that was kind of weird to find all that out.
Well, I've got two thoughts on this, Sam. One is I don't know if I ever want you to go do an investigating on me. There's no telling what you'll find out. And two, that makes it sound very much like this whole Queen thing is like the equivalent of a wrestling gimmick. This might not, the fact that she's drama filled might be legit, but the whole Queen thing might just be a character she's playing for the show. Does that sound like the case, Courtney?
Yeah, it seems like, but then you think how much money is she, I don't think they're paid, but it's like how much money would someone have to pay you to act like that on national television? I mean, she's like, what is she doing? Yeah, I agree with Sam. Like, she does not present herself as a, considering the degrees that she has, something's not adding up for me.
Obviously, we've got more Victoria to talk about later in the show because things go from bad to worse, really. Sam, your thoughts on the segue from the photo shoot to the weird competition, which rules I never really understood. It's probably my fault, not the show's fault. I didn't really know what they were trying to accomplish, but everybody got messy. One team won and got to continue on a bit longer with their dates with Matt. Explain what happened. Tell me what I missed.
Yeah, I was also very confused. Basically, the premise that I captured was that it was like capture the flag, but with hearts, and also you could like soak people in paint during it. And they seemed to be like on some sort of hill because people kept falling down for like no reason at all. I was so confused. And then there's also the random photographer man was like a judge, and then all of a sudden he's taking photos. I was like, what is happening? And then the girls also like in their dresses were then gonna go to some cocktail party, and then the one girl from the other team too, and then 10 seconds later they're like all made up, fancy dresses on, and I was like, so did you go back to the house? Because then it shows you like with the other people getting back that are really mad, but like it never showed you the other people changing. So it was a very confusing sequence of events for me.
I found that whole segment confusing, and I thought, okay, was my head in Twitter for too long during this? Was I not paying close enough attention? Because I took, meticulous notes through the show, which is quite an indictment on me to begin with, and I'm note taking through The Bachelor. But I'm taking notes, and then I'm like, what is going on? I'm just so confused. Courtney, your thoughts on all this craziness?
Yeah, I think it definitely seemed like a free-for-all. I got the concept of the capture the flag, but then it seemed like the paint was just thrown in there just for the visual effect, because the way I thought they explained it meant somehow, the paint shows that you've been tagged, whatever, but no one got out.
Like a paintball type of thing. Like a paintball type of thing. Yeah, you've been hit.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But then it was the whole, like, these women are in these beautiful dresses, and then they're all just ruined. And I'm thinking, how many brides to be would just, why can't they're ruining the dresses? That was hard to watch.
They should put those dresses up for auction for charity, because I'm sure that some Bachelor fans would be thrilled to have that as a piece of memorabilia. Probably.
When's your birthday, Les?
When's my birthday? What? I think my computer lagged, Courtney. I see Sam.
Your birthday?
Huh? Sam, what did she say? I lost her.
When's your birthday?
My birthday is August the 1st.
Oh. Please, am I back?
Getting you one of these dresses.
Oh, okay. Well, that would be fantastic.
Okay, I see you.
Am I back?
Yeah, I think so. It might be me too.
Are we good?
Oh, okay. Our internet's a little wonky.
Yeah, same here. Okay, so
the dress for your birthday.
Thank you so much, Courtney. I really appreciate it. That'd be the first birthday gift I got from the Clawsons. So a wedding dress from The Bachelor. So
right in my planner.
So they all got back together, I guess, after this free-for-all? Or was there anything noteworthy? I guess there probably was. What was most noteworthy out of the conversations with the girls who won the event? It seemed to me that there's a couple things that happened there, Courtney. Am I right?
Yes, I was very impressed. I liked Lauren a lot. I believe that's her name. She ended up getting the group date rose. She had mentioned that she didn't get any time with him at the first rose ceremony, so she really wasn't sure how their relationship was. I'm not remembering if this was out being raised by a single mother. I just caught that. I think the mom had her when she was 13, and now has a new. That was another conversation. I don't remember what that girl's name was.
Sam, your thoughts on that whole sequence of the individual time with the winners?
first thought was that it was so weird that he just like takes them and then they just sit there. Like it's still weird to me how that all works. But my favorite quote was, I forget the girl's name, but the one that went to Carolina. He was like, "You're beautiful. You're smart." And unfortunately, that he really likes certain people in those and he doesn't like others. Like his poker face is not very good. Like you can tell when he's talking to the queen and she says something annoying. It's really funny to watch. And like at the end, she said something about, well, can I get a kiss? And I'm pretty sure his response was just, sure. And it was so awkward. You could tell he was not into it at all.
And she thought it was the best. You know, she thought it was the best. She thought she came away thinking she'd done really well. Yeah. So I guess from here it's talking about the one-on-one date with Sarah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I've got next on my list. It took him a while to really, I guess, crack that nut, get past the outer shell with Sarah. It seemed like, but once he did, it was some good stuff. I thought. Courtney.
Yeah, I think she was open, at least to the cameras, to the viewers, that she wasn't very comfortable. She's a private person and wasn't comfortable opening up, which, like, hey, I totally get it. You're on national, millions of people are watching you right now. But once she did open up and share her journey with her father, and I was just blown away with her selflessness and her, stopping her job to go take care of her father. And I like her a lot. Yeah, I hope she goes far.
Yeah, that's one of the segments that I watched, and then I actually rewound and watched a couple minutes a second time to kind of get the full flavor of it. Sam, did that come across pretty good to you too?
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting and kind of makes sense that like sometimes the people that are in front of the camera, like she was saying that she was a broadcaster, are super private about their own life. So I was like, oh, like that actually makes sense. I felt like overall that date was so much less impressive than the other date, like time wise, but I guess they were flying around. So that is impressive. But I don't know. I just felt like they had a lot less chemistry than he and Brie did at the start, but by the end, I definitely think once they got more personal, like it was getting better. But I just felt like from the start, he and Brie like felt really comfortable with each other compared to he and Sarah.
Do you feel the same way, Courtney?
I do. I agree with Sam that it seemed like the date with Brie was longer and more drawn out, and I'm not sure about the editing and how much they show us and how much they don't show us, but it seems they both ended, I think, they both ended up in hot tubs. So I don't know what that tells you about the Bachelor franchise, but
what else? It looks like, I guess one of the questions I had is, when you're a contestant, and once again, it's the first time I've watched this show, is it more of a competition for these women, or are they convinced? In other words, do they want to win the competition, or are they legitimately convinced that they're going to find their future husbands out of this event? Which is it more, or is it just something completely different?
Your guess is as good as mine. I can't imagine that a logical, a relatively, any human being could think that they're going to find the love of their life on a reality TV show. That concept doesn't make sense to me, but I don't want to speak for the women who go, or the men who go on The Bachelorette, who go on the show, that maybe they do think, but I just can't imagine going into that show with those expectations.
Mathematically, it hasn't really worked out over the long haul, right? Isn't it? Like like 1 out of 20 or whatever actually has an actual marriage that's still around. Am I right? I mean, I just glanced over it casually. Is that about right, Sam?
I'm honestly not super sure, but I feel like you're onto something, like in terms of how long they actually last, like a long-term marriage. But I also feel like it's weird from like the Bachelor, Bachelorette standpoint too, that all of these people are sobbing on national television because they think they're in love with Matt like 3 days after they met him. And I feel like sometimes people are like, oh yeah, like you're attracted to me, like, oh cool, like that's so kind, like flattering. Oh, like I like you too. And now he has like 30 people saying that they're in love with him. That would be so overwhelming. And like, how do you even figure out who you actually like want to be with?
I mean, like if I'm competing on Survivor, I'm very much in love with wanting to win $1 million. So it's likely I could be sobbing after 3 days. But I can't imagine getting on a reality show and sobbing about being in love with someone I've just barely met. That does seem pretty odd. Um, so what's left now? It basically comes down to the cocktail scene, right? And then the argument between Marilyn and Victoria. Um, do you have thoughts here, Sam? I'm sure you do.
Yeah. I just couldn't stand the whole thing. Like my parents have always said, don't bring your problems to other people and like put them in the middle of it, like the exact way that she did. And I hate people that then are like, well, so and so did this, and like, woe is me, I'm the victim here. And it's super awkward too, because, well, it's on national television, first off, but also that she's trying to make him feel bad that she has to sleep on the couch because she can't stand her roommate in this reality TV competition where they're all falling in love with him. Like, it's just very, very over dramatic. But it's funny because I feel like all the other contestants now don't like her either. Like, I wrote down a quote, I forget who said it, but someone said, I thought the queen thing was an act, but I think it's just her. And I was like, yeah,
Yes.
like, I think it is.
Courtney?
Yeah, I'm with it. I think that obviously, The Bachelor is known for its drama, but I think this was just way too much. And also, they've been in the house for what, maybe a week at this point, and probably not even. I think, when you're a freshman in college and you get placed with a random roommate, you got to stick it out, and they're not going to let you have a transfer 4 days in and say, oh, she's mean to me, boo-hoo. So yeah, I think she needs to toughen up a little bit.
So what do we think of our friend Matt for like kind of buying her story? I mean, we've all got to be here shaking our heads, right? Like, come on, Matt, wake the hell up. Right, Courtney?
Right, but I think Sam made a great point earlier that I think his poker face is falling away. And if maybe I'm seeing what I want to see, but I think that he's being coached to do this. I don't see what he sees in her. Oh, this is so mean. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm so mean.
It's completely understandable, Courtney. I'm trying to watch myself from not being mean too. So, yeah, she's not great to watch in a lot of ways. Anyway, go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, it really just gave me, like Courtney was saying, like freshman year of college vibes when people are like mad at their roommate and then they each go tattle to the RA, like, well, my roommate like came back at 3 a.m. Like, well, my roommate is like doing something on their bed, blah, blah, blah. And then her going to sleep on the couch to me was if someone was like, I'm out of here, and then just went and like slept in the lounge. Like, people would be like, what are they doing? That's so
that
weird.
couch
Like,
looks so comfortable.
I know. I was like, okay. But also, so many people are going to keep leaving. So, like, they would, in theory, get their own room soon, too. So it just seemed like such an overreaction. But it seems like she wants to be the victim, and maybe that's what they're scripting for her. But I was just so done with it at that point.
So we go, and then who was the other lady's name? Marilyn. He brings Marilyn in. Does he believe Marilyn? Does he believe Victoria? Or does he just really not know at this point?
in the first 10 minutes of next week's episode. And I knew they were going to faux pas of the queen. What was that dress she was wearing? It was horrible.
I was going to leave that one alone.
It looked like a window drape of sorts.
Well, I would love to, just needed to put that out there that, it was like a window drape, but then it was like really short, but then on the top it looks like an old-timey. Yeah, I'm not sure what she was thinking there.
So I guess then we get down to like where he gives the roses away, and as to who gets to come back for next week, and he only gets about a third of the way through the roses before Sarah has some sort of something happen to her. Sam, what's going on there?
I was super unsure. And honestly, like the people that he gave it to in the beginning, I thought were kind of underwhelming. Like I wasn't super excited about any of them. I find it super strange that the 21-year-old moves on. Just like personally, as a 21-year-old, I just could not imagine being on this reality TV show. But yeah, it seems kind of concerning. Like at first I was like, oh, she just needs to sit down, like she'll be fine. And then the paramedics are coming in and they like stop everything and Matt runs over. So I hope she's okay. Like I'm really not sure what we're supposed to think now that it left off like that.
Courtney, and your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I hate that I'm smiling and laughing because I hope that she's okay. But it seemed like they made a huge deal out of it to add a little bit more drama in there, which is very uncharacteristic of this show. They usually try and minimize such things, but they really dramatized this. So
do they leave us guessing about because obviously some girls were eliminated with this giveaway. That's not usually a cliffhanger, is it?
They at some point early in the season, they'll like wait to do the rose ceremony until the beginning of next week's episode. So I guess maybe this was the kind of transition episode that we got half of it before. We'll get half of it at the beginning of next week's episode, and then now it'll start being at the beginning of the episodes to make sure that we come back next week.
I guess it's safe to say that everybody's least favorite part of this week's show was basically everything to do with Victoria again, right? What was your favorite part of the show, Sam? Was there something that you liked the most?
I feel like Matt just continues to impress me. I never watched Bachelor or Bachelorette, and I don't normally. I'm like not very impressed, but the way that he kind of just like talks about things and the way that he talks to the girls and like to the camera too, him saying unfortunately you went to Carolina, like I knew that was just like a money ball for the Wake fans watching. But yeah, I feel like it's really funny how they try to then, when he does some sort of nice talking scene like sorry Bree's mom, and then they pan immediately to an ab shot of him. I'm like, you really have to like balance like nice like educated boy with like, oh look how fit he is. It's just really funny to see. Like I am curious how he likes or dislikes the way they portray him. Like I think that'd be so interesting.
Hopefully we'll find that out in a few months. I asked Courtney this last time, Sam. I'm guessing you weren't around at all when Matt was on campus, right?
No, I wasn't. No.
That's what I thought. You were a couple years after him. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Courtney, your favorite part of the show, like today, yesterday, whatever?
Yeah, I think that for my purposes of watching the show, which is to have some laughs and such, the as chaotic as the whole heart stealing taint thing was, quite entertaining. But yeah, I liked some of the deeper conversations that we got with Matt, and I think the way, again, I don't want to repeat too much of what Sam said, but the way he speaks to the women, the way he listens to them, and then the way he speaks about what he's looking for is very impressive. But then it's also, it's these two images of you talking about what you want in a family. Clearly put this together in a very intentional way. And I'm curious, if that's really Matt.
Yeah.
We'll never know, I guess. Maybe.
The one thing that I found striking is that, like, the dates included, like flying in an airplane and, riding on the ATV. These are not typical standard first date, events, I don't feel like. Is that kind of the first dates you girls experience?
I think they have a lot big.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello. I lost y'all for a second. I'm sorry, viewers, if this video got interrupted there. But I asked about the first dates, and I think Sam was starting to respond, and then my computer laughed at me. So anyway, go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, I was just saying, first of all, the budget of those first dates were very dissimilar from the budgets of any date ever, of a college budget. But I was also saying that I feel like it's fitting in a sense, and I resonated with it too, that if he's adventurous and he would want to ATV or go on a plane ride or do whatever with the girl, then I think that makes sense to kind of do that early on, because if they don't have interest in doing it, then you won't be a good fit. So I liked it from that sense, and could relate to that, but definitely don't see any fireworks happening on a date I go on in the near future.
Strangely enough, I had a friend who runs a mattress store in Indiana. And when it's not a mattress store in the middle of the summer, they take all the mattresses out and it becomes a fireworks store. So my recollection was he was proposing to a woman and had bought himself a bunch of the fireworks from his store, and arranged for friends to set off a bunch of fireworks as he actually proposed to his fiance. They never got married, by the way, but that's another story. So I guess sometimes you can't have fireworks. What was that? It wasn't a happy ending.
The fireworks weren't a good omen. Yeah.
Courtney, is there anything on your notebook that we haven't covered about this episode that you want to talk about?
No, I did take some notes this week, but no, I think we got the main themes. What the heck is going on with the wedding dresses? Victoria is crazy, and how do they go from being covered in paint to being dressed up and makeup and hair done in 30 seconds? I wish I knew how to do that, but the magic of TV.
So let's place our bets here right now. At what episode is Victoria eliminated? Sam, go first.
I think she makes it at least a couple. Oh.
I think she makes it to maybe week 4. If I was a producer, I feel okay, week 4, everyone's slowly hating her, and there has to be a tipping point where everyone's I can't stand you, and things blow up. And Matt doesn't seem like he is a fan of drama in the slightest, so I could see them being okay, we've had enough. She can go now.
So episode 4 is what Sam is going with. Courtney, you?
Yeah,
I think she's making it at least one more week. In the previews we did see a little bit more of Victoria, so she's making it a little further. But I can even see her leaving not at a rose ceremony. I can see, sometimes they'll send people home mid-episode if there is some sort of realization that they're not soulmates. So I feel Victoria definitely has that up her sleeve to do something to really, if she hasn't already, maybe.
So you see her exiting some random week with some episode of some sort, some explosion that causes her to be expelled or take herself out of the contest.
My bold prediction of the week. Yeah.
I like it, Courtney. Well, thank you both for joining us this week. I hope our viewers enjoyed this spectacle. we'll get back together next Monday night. I don't think there's any more football to get out of the way. Thanks for both your time. I had a good time. We'll talk to you in a week.
I did too.
See ya.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Courtney.
Bye.
Bye.